Hello and welcome to episode 4 of Pearls of Parmadice. My name is Courtney and I'm coming to you from Parma, Ohio, here in the US. Today is Monday, September 5th, and it's Labor Day here. So happy Labor Day if you celebrate. I have the day off work, as does my husband. So he is home. You might hear some noises from him in the background. It's real life. That's what we do here on this podcast. So welcome if you are new here. Thank you so much for checking out this podcast. And a big welcome back to my returning viewers. I hope you've all been well these last couple of weeks. And let's get started. It is a dreary, gray, rainy day. It's been like that since yesterday. So we are all cozied up over here. Couple things. Little bit of housekeeping before we dive into the knitting. Filming schedule. I usually record on Fridays, every other Friday when I'm off work. Obviously today is Monday. I didn't record on Friday because I was working. And I will not be recording on my usual Friday in a week and a half or whatever. On the 16th, I will not be recording. I'm working that day, and then I will be off the following Monday. So I'll be recording the next episode, and hopefully it'll be uploaded on September 19th. And then after that, we should be back to our regular every other Friday schedule. And the reason that I am working on the 16th, when I'm normally off, is because on the 17th, I will be attending Wool Gathering in Yellow Springs, Ohio at Young's Jersey Dairy. So if any of you are going to be there, I would love it if you said hi. I think that would be really fun. So I'm planning to be there earlier in the day. I don't live anywhere near there, so it's a few hours drive. I'm not sure if I'll get there right when it begins, and I'm not sure how long we'll stay. Probably a few hours, but I'm not sure. We'll see. So anyways, that's what's going on with that, and I think that's the only housekeeping thing I have. Oh, thank you to everyone who commented on my last video and gave me some feedback on knitting the Mina cardigan. I haven't decided for sure yet if that will be my fall cast on or not. I'm considering another cardigan. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But anyways, thank you. I so appreciate the feedback. And I would also appreciate it if you could leave a comment below. Tell me where you are, what you're working on. I love hearing from you guys. It's such a joy. And I just would love for you to say hi. So feel free to comment below and let me know what you're knitting these days. Okay, now we're gonna jump into what I'm wearing. So my preview went away. There we go. We don't edit around here either, at least not at this time. We did upgrade this week to a ring light, so that's why I'm not wearing my glasses. As I said, it's dark and gray, so we're trying this today. We got fancy this week. Really fancy. Anyways, this is the My Sister's Favorite Things by Cozy Up Knits. And I'm going to just hold this up so that you guys can see. It's a Crescent Shawl. We'll lean back. There we go. So it's a crescent shaped shawl. This was their 2020 MCAL. They always do a mystery knit along. Like New Year's Eve, New Year's Day is when it starts. And then it goes on through the, I don't know, like through the end of January, I think. I don't know because I never finished them on time, but that's okay. This one, This one was kind of interesting for me to knit. I had never knit with mohair. This was the first time, I believe. I could be. No, it was my first time. And you hold mohair single for a lot of it. And I don't know what it was, but as I was knitting this, I just did not like it. It just wasn't bringing me joy. It looked terrible. Did not like it. I finished it and I was like, man, I'm going to block this, but I am never going to wear it. Oh my goodness. I wear this thing all the time. Blocking is magic, people. If you don't block your stuff, you totally should. If you are not a knitter or you're a new knitter, I do want to explain what blocking is because no one explained it to me for a really long time. So blocking is where here's how I do it. There's other ways to block, but I usually, for most things, soak my garment in some water and some wool wash. I like to soak my things a long time, like an hour or more. But some people do less, some people do more, whatever. It's just your personal preference, really. And then you get the water out gently. I usually squeeze water back into the basin that I use and then kind of lay it out on a towel as best I can, then roll it in the towel. Sometimes I do that part a second time if I don't feel like I got enough liquid out the first time. And then I have like foam blocking mats, kind of like kids play mats. Mine are blocking mats, but you could, if you have those like foam mats for kids that are interlocking, you could completely use those as well. And lay it out on there. This one was my first time. I bought blocking wires, which are wires you can run through stitches. And you can bend them. If your shawl is crescent shaped, you can use them on the edges of things to keep them straight. I love blocking wires. And then I use blocking combs usually to pin things out, or T-pins. And you pin it and you let it dry. And then the lace opens up, everything gets drapey, it's lovely, and it's just wonderful. And you don't have to pin it. You don't have to use wire, depending on what you're doing. You could just lay it out. I don't block my socks usually. Not everything needs blocked, but this one, it was magic. Absolute magic. So this is probably last year, this was probably my most worn shawl. I wore it at least once or twice a week. All through fall and winter. So, oh, I didn't say what yarn I used. The purple, well, they're both purple, but the dark purple is Knit Picks Gloss DK in the blackberry colorway. And it has, I want to say it has silk in it. I don't remember the fiber content. I believe it's merino and silk, but I couldn't tell you the percentages there. I don't remember. And this is Knit Picks Aloft in the Pennyroyal colorway. And you've seen that before in my, can't think of the name, my Bashful hat. So anyways, that is what I'm wearing today. My sister's favorite things by Cozy Up Knits. All right, so finished objects. There was supposed to be a finished object here. It was done. It was beautiful. And it's not done anymore. This is a tale of woe. So it's not a finished object. It was a finished object. It's now back to being a whip, not by choice. So sad. So, you guys have seen this, I think it may have been on every episode. I'm not sure. It might not have been my first one. This is my 999 Happy Haunts wrap by Jessica Anderson. And I knit it using Fangirl Fibers, her 31 Days of Haunted Mansion, which was her October countdown last year. And you might be able to tell it looks a lot different. It's blocked. Look how beautiful that lace is. It bloomed so beautifully. You can see the lace patterns. It's so lovely. Look at that. Oh, it's so pretty. And look at the drape. It's so big and so beautiful. It's really hard to show. And it's on needles. That's not normal. So let me tell you guys why it's on needles and blocked, because that doesn't make sense. So yesterday afternoon, I soaked this. It's been a whole thing. It's been a challenging couple of weeks. So I don't have as much knitting as I normally would to show, but I had finished this. I was so excited. I finished it on Wednesday night. It was ready to go. I had planned to block it Thursday. That just wasn't possible, so it didn't get blocked. Then yesterday afternoon, I soaked it, did some things around the house, came back, started blocking it, and we were meeting a friend for dinner at 5 o'clock. Started blocking it around 3:15, and it's massive. It took quite a while to run blocking wires through the whole thing, get it laid out the way I wanted, and I got all the way to the end. I mean, I had done all the length, the first end. I got all the way to the last end, the bind off edge, and I started running my wire through it, and I got 2/3 of the way through and realized I don't know how it happened. I have no idea what happened, but my bind off had come undone on the last third, and the lace had dropped. I dropped so many stitches, and that end is the same lace pattern as this. So it was from like here over, had dropped like all the way to like here. So I didn't have time to do anything. I was trying to run out the door to meet my friend for dinner. So I left it and thought, I'll fix it when I get back. It'll be fine. And I got back from dinner last night later than I'd planned and looked at it and tried to fix it and realized A, I was making it worse, and B, it just wasn't, it might have been fixable by somebody more experienced than I am at fixing really intricate lace, but for me, this one wasn't fixable. Most of these other lace patterns I would have been able to fix, but not that one. So I let the whole thing dry overnight, let it block out, put some pins in to keep it from unraveling further, so that none of the other sections would be affected. And this morning, I ripped out that whole last section and put it back on my needles. So the plan is to reknit that section and probably just spray bottle it, just that section. I know what dimensions I blocked it to, so I don't know if this is going to work or not. I may end up having to reblock the whole thing. But that's the plan right now. Reknit it, bind it off, block just that section, and maybe this section a little bit, just because it'll be next to it, and see how it goes. I don't know if that's going to work or not. We will see. And get the ends woven in and make this a final finished object. I was so disappointed. You guys, I thought I was going to cry. It was so sad. I've put so many hours into this, and I was very ready to be done with it. But anyways, that's my biggest tale of woe this week. A woe that is now back to being a whip that was a finished object for 3 days. But that's okay. Next time you guys see this, next time, it will be done. It will be done. And hopefully these ends will be woven in and it will be lovely. So that's okay. A little disappointing, but there's my finished object that's not a finished object anymore. Moving on. So the next thing I worked on this week is my vanilla sock, and all of these have a little bit of a tale of woe. Let me tell you. So I didn't realize that I'm pretty much ready for the heel. So this is where we were the last time, and I've knit all of this. I really like how it's knitting up. I didn't realize that I was ready for the heel. And we went out to my parents' campsite for the weekend. For Friday night, Saturday, and then we came home yesterday. I thought this would be a perfect project to work on there. And I didn't realize that I was at the point where I needed to put the heel in, which is no big deal, except that I forgot the needles that I needed to put the heel in. So that was very sad. That's just a teeny tale of woe. That's really not a big deal, but it was a little bit of a bummer. So anyways, but I did get a fair bit done on the leg since the last time, and I've got my little pumpkin pie progress keeper from Simply Serving on there. And the yarn for this is also Fangirl Fibers. It was a Schitt's Creek Halloween box, I think, from last year or something. Anyways, the sock set is called the Crowaning. And I really love how this is working up. It's so much fun. These colors are way outside of my normal color comfort zone, but I am really enjoying this sock. So it's just a vanilla sock, 64 stitches, knit on US 1.5 size needles. All my needles are Chowgoos, in case you were wondering. Chowgoo red lace is my favorite needle for everything. So anyway, that's my vanilla sock, and it is in my Pokemon little drawstring project bag. And I know I mentioned the maker in my last podcast. I can't think of it. I forgot to write down any of my project bag makers this week. We're a little bit of a mess. It's okay. Not everything's perfect. So if you're interested, I will link it down below. Everything will be linked down below. Check there. But this is what we have. I don't remember the name. I'll link it. So that's my second work in progress. My third work in progress, which has its own little tale of woe. You might recognize this from my episode I did where I showed my whips and had the whip parade. These are the Marvellous Mini Mitts by Mina Phillip of Expat Knitting Designs. I wrote it down. Where is it? Mina Phillip of Knitting Expat Designs. There we go. And this isn't... I've just decided it's going to be okay that these aren't perfect. I've made quite a few mistakes on this. It took me a while sitting down and figuring out what to even do. I couldn't remember what we did for this pattern. I didn't remember the technique at all. It's faux brioche. It's not real brioche. And it's basically like a 2-color fisherman's rib. And I could not remember that. So I spent a good hour trying to figure out how to do this. I could not remember. But I figured it out. I hadn't picked this up in months and months and months. So I started here, I got this much done. I really only worked on this a day or two anyways. But at one point I dropped a stitch over here and had to pick it back up the best I could. It's just not perfect, but that's really okay. You can kind of tell that it's not exactly perfect, but it's a challenging pattern. It's a new technique. Look at that side. I love this. This is so fun. It's a new to me technique, and that's okay. So this is learning, but it was kind of a bummer to have to try and fix this. The outside doesn't show the mistakes. The inside shows them. That's okay. It's fine. So the yarn for this is... Oh, and I'm going a little fast today too, just because the day has not gone like I had planned. I know this might be a little faster paced than usual, but I have a lot that I have to get done today. And like I said, my husband's home and kind of sequestered upstairs, so I'm trying to get through it a little quicker than normal. Anyway, the yarn that I used is from Lady Dye Yarns. It was part of a different Schitt's Creek box. If you've been here before, you know. That's one of my favorite shows. It is my favorite show. That was a Moira's Roses Garden box, and the pink is called No Roses, and the charcoal gray is Apostrophes. And if you're familiar with the Moira's Roses Garden episode, you'll get it. So, again, Chaogu red lace, also 1.5 needles, US 1.5. And yeah, I would love to have these done by the end of the month if I could, but I feel like these are the slowest things to knit ever. They're just kind of tedious. That being said, the pattern is super clear. Nothing against the pattern. It's just a technique I'm not very familiar with, and it takes me a little bit, and it takes me a lot of thought, and I'm having trouble with the cabling. Just the way you have to cable, getting into the stitch is kind of tight, and I don't know. So anyways, nothing against the pattern. It's just a new to me technique. So we'll see. I would love these to be done by like the end of the month though, for when it starts to really get chilly here. I love a good pair of fingerless mitts for that time in between when it gets super, super cold and when it's just chilly. So, and the bag came in a kit. I don't remember from who or for what, but this is the maker. I hope everything's not backwards. I had changed my settings and I'm not sure that it actually stayed. I bet everything's going to be backwards. If it is, I'm so sorry. Okay. That's how it's going today. So I apologize if everything's backwards. Hopefully it's not. All right. Then this one doesn't have a tail of woe. This is my last whip for today. And this one went well. I didn't get as far on it as I wanted to, but that's all right. So this is something that's dropping stitches. Okay, let me shove my needle through those. You guys, this is just how it's going today. It's just the way it is. And you know what? It's fine. I'll fix it later. It's fine. It's fine. Okay. I'm so sorry. All right, we're fixed. We're good. So this is the lace panel pullover by Jolene Treace, and it's from this book. If this is backwards, I'll just read it. 60 More Quick Baby Knits. And I have the body done. So this is knit bottom up. This is where I was last Sunday, but this is where I was when I last filmed. So I got so much done. Let me try and spread the lace apart so that you can see. And this, you guys, this flew off my needles. It's such a squishy little knit. It's so pretty. The body took no time. It was so much fun to knit. It's so soft. I absolutely love it. So if that's done, and then I also have the first sleeve done. So you've got the little picot edge, and this actually gets, this will get folded up for wearing, which is just the sweetest little thing. Right? I know. It doesn't look that great yet, but it's going to be amazing. It's going to be great. So I'm very pleased with that. I used Cascade 220 Superwash Sport in the cream puff colorway. And let me show you guys the picture of what it's going to look like when it's done. It's going to be so sweet. I'm knitting this for my little niece, Mina, and I keep saying I'm hoping to have things done by the end of the month. I don't know if they'll be done by the end of the month, but this one I really want done by the end of the month so that I can give it to her and she can wear it. But we'll see. Based on the way everything's gone, I don't know. It'll get done when it gets done. And hopefully she'll still be small enough to wear it. I am knitting the 12-month size. She is only, I have to really think and do math. She's like 7 months-ish right now, but the 12-month is probably the best option for right now, just to make sure she's got plenty of room and that it'll last all fall and winter. So there's that. That is all the knitting I have for you guys today. So if you're just here for the knitting, that's all I've got. I have my other stuff now. Future possibilities. So like I said, it's September 5th. The fall equinox is coming up on the 25th or 21st. I don't know. I just like to cast something on at the beginning of each season. I just think it's a nice way to mark the seasons. So I am toying with a couple of cardigans. I did kind of talk this out with a friend, and I'm not sure I'm going to choose the Mina this time. It sounds like it would definitely be doable for me as a first-time brioche knitter, but I have another cardigan that's been in my queue longer that I also have yarn for that I've really, really wanted to knit and really wanted to have, that I swatched for a couple of years ago, last year, and with different yarn, and I didn't like the colors that I chose with that pattern. So I bought new yarn. I had it dyed specifically for this project, and I might start that one instead. It's the Monstera cardigan by Joji Locatelli. I don't have the pattern in front of me. I have it somewhere. I don't know. I didn't have time to pull it out. But that's going to be really lovely at whatever point I knit it. So I'm kind of leaning more towards that. It's all over cables. And I really do, other than in those mitts, I really love cabling. So we'll see. I might pull that one out. I might do that for my fall equinox cast on. Or, I don't know, I could show up on my next recording and tell you guys that I'm doing something totally different that we haven't even talked about. We don't know. It's a surprise for us all. So I will reveal what it's going to be next podcast, because by then I'll know for sure. Otherwise, future possibilities, based on the way that my whips have gone lately, I don't have any room to talk about future possibilities because we're struggling with the current ones. So that's where we are with that. Stash additions, I do have a few things. So this, I did place an order with Molly Klein of Molly Klein Designs and Sweet Tree Yarns. She was doing a promotion where if you bought, I believe, $60 worth of stuff from her site, she'd give you a free project bag. So she included this super sweet Beauty and the Beast project bag, which I love Disney. I think I've talked about that before. We love Disney, all the Disney things. My husband and I honeymooned to Disney, so we Disney. There's her tag, Molly Klein Designs. It's probably backwards, but you know what? It's the way it's going today. And yeah, so the first skein I bought, it was this one. And this is on her Sweet Sock base in, what is it called? I wrote it down. Dusty Sea Glass. It's showing up a little paler on camera than it is in real life. It's a little bit more saturated, but it's pretty close to this. You get the idea. So anyways, this will be really beautiful. I'm not sure if I'll use it for socks or something else. I just really love this color. I think it's really beautiful. So I got that. And then, okay, this knocked my socks off. This absolutely blew me away. I saw it online. I thought it was gorgeous. This is her Garden Party sock set. You guys, look at that. It's so pretty. Like, I was absolutely floored. I stared at this for a good 10 minutes, just turning it over. It is absolutely beautiful. I love the way these colors are put on here. I love the combination of these colors. They're so bright, they're so fresh, they're so springy, and just something about the way that the yarn took these. It's just, like, it's just absolutely gorgeous. I don't think that there's any possible way I can knit these into socks. I need this. I need this to be a shawl or something. It is so pretty. So, if anybody knows a good pattern that would work with this, I would love to hear about it. It's fingering weight, 75-25 superwash merino nylon. Oh, it's so pretty. It is so pretty. I need this, like, I need this to be a stunner of something. So anyways, there was that. And then I also bought a little stitch marker set. We'll say, I think next time with this ring light, I'm going to put it at a different height. I feel like there's too much space above my head and have to hold things up really high for you guys to see them. We're working on it over here. We're working on it. So anyways, little progress keepers. So we've got a little rose. And once again, I know this doesn't focus. And a little moon with a nightcap on it. Just a little, like, see if you can see it better like that. There we go. And then this one says, a cup of tea solves everything. And it's kind of hard to see. There you go. So I got those. And then, so that's what I purchased from her. And then she just included a sweet little card and a bag of tea and a little Mento. So I love when I love when dyers and project bag makers just include those little extras. It makes me feel very special. I'm not really sure why, but it does. So anyways, that's all I have as far as yarn goes. It was pretty good. I didn't buy much. Like I said, I'm going to wool gathering in a couple weeks, so we'll have some yarn then on the next episode to show, I'm sure. And then the other two things that I got, I'm not really sure where she picked this up, but my grandmother got me the Vogue Knitting International Spring and Summer 2004 magazine. And I love looking through these old knitting magazines, the patterns, and I mean, it's not even that old. Well, 2004 is not that long ago. But there are some gorgeous patterns in here. Like, look at that. Look at all those pretty cables. I just really love that. And the whole 2004 aesthetic for me is very, very nostalgic. Very nostalgic. Let me see here. Where was the other? Anyways. Oh, let me see if I can find it. There's another one that I thought was really, really sweet. Oh, I like this. This was on the cover. This tank top with this interesting detail at the top here. I feel like with all the cutout trends right now, that would be something that would end up being very 2022. We did that today. So anyways, that's really fun. And then my other stash edition was this booklet. And it's from a mill, Brunswick Mills or something like that in one of the Carolinas. I don't know if they're even in business, but look at this. Look at her whole aesthetic. I saw this. I work at a library and we do have book sales, and I saw this in our book sale, and like, look at this photography. Look at that. Even if I never knit any of these patterns, just the whole aesthetic. I love vintage. I love vintage things. I love vintage knitting things. Like, look at her with her Afghan. So pretty. Even if I never knit anything from this, just the whole aesthetic is so lovely, and I really enjoy looking at those older patterns. Like, look at her. She is all dressed up and ready for her night in with her blanket. That's my kind of evening. And these patterns are really cool too. Like, look at how cool that modular pattern is. Like, that is so cool. And then the back cover, it's a little, back cover would not fly here in 2022, but like, look at her. And her sweater is knit. I wish they included the pattern for the sweater. I really would love that. But yeah, so this was my other stash edition. These vintage knitting booklets, I just think are so fun. They're just so fun to look through. So that's what I have for that book corner. I did finish the Mayfair Bookshop by Eliza Knight. And I think I gave it 4 stars on Goodreads. It landed for me about 3.75. I thought it was okay. I really liked some parts of it, and other parts I just didn't care that much about. It was okay. If you like London in World War II, or you are a fan of Nancy Mitford or any of her sisters, this is probably a great book for you. I normally really like World War II novels, but this one just didn't quite grab me. So that's okay. We moved on to the next thing. And I'm currently reading Colorado by Louis Bromfield. I've never read anything by him before, but his farm is not very far from where I live, and I've been there several times and hadn't read any of his novels. So we're starting with this one, and it's a Western, which is not a genre I would ever normally gravitate towards, but I'm actually really enjoying it. It's character driven, that I can tell thus far. I'm only about 50 some pages in, and I normally don't go for character driven books, but I really am falling in love with these characters. So I'm very surprised I'm enjoying it, but I am. And that's an older book too, so that's kind of fun. It's been a while since I've read a really, vintage book. So that's been a lovely, lovely experience. And that's all I have in Book Corner. Life update. The last couple weeks have not gone to plan. August was a really tough month for me. I do struggle with a couple of different chronic pain things, and I had huge flare-ups with both, and functioning in August was a challenge. So the last couple of weeks were really extra rough. I lost a lot of knitting time, spent a lot of time sleeping, laying on my back, not really able to do a whole lot. So I am feeling much better. One of them is completely under control. The other one I think is pretty much there. So that's great. I'm really happy about that. And life has been busy. So in the midst of all of that, my husband and I have kind of committed to being better about fostering our friendships and getting together with some of our friends and things, particularly ones we hadn't seen in a while. We were really, really good about that before COVID, and we just got out of the habit of it the last couple of years. In the midst of it, we both changed jobs, some other things in our life changed, and it just wasn't something we were able to do. But we are really committed to that. So last weekend, my brother came over. We went to the zoo. We did Pokemon Go all day. It was wonderful. It was lovely. It was so much fun. And then this weekend, we, like I said, went to my parents' campsite, met up with a friend for dinner last night. And we've got things going on every weekend for the next 6-7 weekends. So we have a lot planned, and I'm really excited about it and really looking forward to it. I do need to get something mindless on my needle so that I can have something to knit on at these social things. I'm not normally a huge social person, but I'm really trying to work on that a little bit more. So I think that's all I have for life updates. I don't think there's been anything else super crazy. Like I said, I'm attending, for the millionth time, I'm attending Wool Gathering in Yellow Springs in a couple weeks. Please, 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 if you're there and you see me, please say hi. I would love to meet you. And I have some time off work. I do work full-time outside of my home. And I do have some time off from my day job coming up here in a couple of weeks too. I'm very excited about it. That week has kind of already filled up, but I'm hoping to have time to get a lot of knitting done and also pursue some new hobbies and interests. So that's really exciting. Anyways, that's all I have for you guys today. It's a little bit of a shorter episode. That's where we are. I am hoping to have some finished things next time and hopefully fewer tales of woe. So thank you so much for watching. Thanks for joining me, and getting on the Hot Mess Express with me today. I really appreciate you guys who tune in faithfully and connect with me. This has just been so much fun for me, and I love getting to know all of you. So that being said, please comment down below. Let me know where you're coming from. Tell me what you're working on. Do you have a tale of woe? If so, I'd love to hear it. You listen to mine. I'm happy to listen to your tale of woe as well. Your knitting woes, the highs and the lows, you know. You can also find me on Instagram and on Ravelry at Pearls of Parmadice. I will link those down below, and I will also put my Pokemon Go friend code down below. If you play, I am very much into it. If you've been around, you've heard me talk about it. Very into that. So please contact me on those platforms, and I would love to hear from you and hear what you're working on and what you're doing. So thank you so much for joining me in my little corner of Parmadice, and I hope that wherever you are, your little corner is your paradise too. Have a great rest of your day and a wonderful couple of weeks, and I will see you soon. Bye.